Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Season 2 of Nikita. Before getting into that, though, you probably noticed the haircut. This was more practical for my job to not have my hair blowing in my face when I wasn't wearing a hat, so it made sense to get it cut, and also the fact that it's about to be summer pretty soon. So yeah, this kind of makes sense. I won't have a woolly mammoth on my head at least for a few months. But yeah, so I just finished Season 2. Here's the DVD I have. Definitely plan on getting this on Blu-ray. I have all the other seasons on Blu-ray. I was just so excited to see this in an actual store in person, so I just bought it no matter what the format was. So I'll probably just get this on Blu-ray at some point too, to have the whole collection on Blu-ray, but I'll keep the DVD of course too. But overall, a great season of the show. This is, if the final two seasons are anywhere as good as this one was, this will probably, cement its place within my favorite shows of all time. I think it's going to rank somewhere among there. I can feel it. And as far as how does it compare to Season 1, I was really debating about that as the season went on. For a majority of it, I was still thinking I'm a little bit partial to Season 1, but the final few episodes of this, or the finale, episode 23 Homecoming and episode 19 Wrath especially, it just amazed me, man. And I have to say that Season 2 is probably the best season so far. Season 1 is great itself, great for what it did, but the scope and the scale in a way, but also like the stakes that were put into the final episode, especially of Nikita, Season 2, just honestly blew me away in a way, I think. Just incredible, and the storytelling on the show is a lot better than I was giving it credit for, I think. The way Percy was a big part of the season too, he was in a very different place than we were used to seeing him in. He sort of had that Hannibal Lecter vibe when he was locked in the basement of Division and stuff. Like Amanda or Alex coming down here to ask him certain questions about knowledge he'd still have with him, even though he's locked in there with nothing. To him eventually having this whole elaborate plan set in place already, and him eventually breaking out and eventually taking over Division again. Just really well done. And Xander Berkeley, he just played a tremendous villain on the show. Easily the best villain I've seen in any spy espionage thing whatsoever, movie, show, or otherwise. Definitely the best villain I've seen. Definitely this show just, destroys any James Bond thing whatsoever, but not just that though, but other stuff like that too. And Nikita's journey herself this season, she's kind of been struggling with this for the whole series thus far. It's probably going to be a factor until hopefully she gets a happy ending in Season 4. I don't mean that in a weird way, but really she deserves a happy ending. But throughout the whole series so far, she's struggled with this idea that she doesn't deserve to find a place where she is content and happy at the same time. She doesn't deserve that peace. She doesn't deserve to settle down, and also struggling with finding a place where she does belong. And she sort of found that in a way this season with Team Nikita really becoming a thing. With herself, Michael, Alex, Birkhoff in a way. Yeah, definitely Birkhoff, and then Sean in a certain way too, because of his connection to Alex. So she's starting to find that kind of family dynamic. But at the end of the season, she's still unsure where her place in the world is, really. And I'm excited to see what they do with that for the final two seasons. Of course, I'm going to be watching Season 3 soon, and that has 22 episodes, which is about the usual, except this one, except Season 2 had 23. And then Season 4 had 6. But I'm still excited to see how they are going to end it. I'm just glad they got a chance to. And I did say for a part of season 2, I was still leaning towards season 1 being my favorite so far. And now that these were having lesser episodes, now that season 2 is having lesser episodes early on necessarily, just the fact that at first I wasn't huge on the new sort of group dynamic or sort of Nikita. Okay, think of Nikita as Batman, okay? Sometimes I like the stories where Batman's just working by himself. You know, he's all about sort of that lone wolf, lone dark knight type of thing, you know? But with season 2 of Nikita, you know, she begins working a lot more closely with Michael, and there's Alex. Birkhoff joins her side, so it kind of becomes more of a group effort instead of Nikita sort of like pushing all this on her own and stuff, which it's still kind of her war, really. Or not her, just hers, but, you know, it's kind of her idea of what's going on and stuff, but... So at first I sort of was just preferring Nikita to sort of like be on her own. I just sort of like that a little bit more for some reason. But I will say that it still did make sense, continuing from where season 1 left off. So it still did make sense. It was just a preference of mine. But I grew into it a little bit too. They really did some great stuff with establishing how much Nikita cares about the people in her group and how much they care about her. Birkhoff, it was another highlight of the season, played by Aaron Stanford. I was really happy to see him, you know, sort of turn around at the end of season 1 and, you know, show that he's actually going to be aligning with Nikita and Michael especially, and sort of he's sort of like their tech guy, their hacker and stuff like that. So I was really happy they brought him onto the right side in season 2. You know, I really love the episodes that focused on like the relationship between Birkhoff and Nikita. You know, it's not necessarily romantic, even though you can kind of see little things here and there, maybe. But I consider them to have more of like a brother-sister type friendship, which I really like. And they disagree, but they all see the value in each other, and they really help each other out and back each other up. It's really well done when they do re-emphasize that. Some of the, you know, it's way too difficult to get into all the details of this season, but I do want to do as I usually do with my season general reviews of any show, and that is tell you my favorite episodes of the season. And something big for Michael going on the season was, of course, finding out he had a son with Cassandra, and I like the struggle that he was going through, you know, whether he wanted to sort of focus on the real, true, great love he has for Nikita, or, you know, sort of go for his son, you know, focus on him and maybe, you know, try and reconnect with Cassandra, because it'd just be in that type of situation. But of course, if he would go with them, you know, he'd be putting both of them at risk, and of course it is eventually known that his love for Nikita is really greater, and he can't just let her go, you know, for anything, really. And which is all really well done myself. I'm definitely not explaining it the right way, most likely, but still, I really like that stuff with Michael, too. Like I said, my favorite episodes of the season, I thought Game Change, I think that was the premiere episode, wasn't it? Let me check the little the episode guide right here. Game Change. That was a really good one, because of course at the beginning of the season, Alex was still working pretty closely with the division, you know, really to further her own goal of, you know, getting back to the people now running her father's company, Zetrov, of course, but also, you know, did put her on the opposite side to Nikita, so that made for an interesting dynamic too, I think. And I just love when Nikita put Alex in her place, though, and just destroyed her in a fight, and, you know, said she's going to have to do things differently if she wants to survive, and, you know, shot her in the leg and stuff like that. That was awesome. I'm not a big fan of the Alex character, so I kind of enjoyed it. So I liked Game Change. Also really liked... Let's see, I posted all these on Facebook. Nightfall, episode 3 was another good one. see. Yeah, I like seeing Birkhoff getting involved. Godding. Let's see, yeah. Of course, there's moments where Michael and Nikita both think they're dead and stuff like that. So those moments always, work and hit me, even though I know they're probably not. Then there was an episode called London Calling, which is episode 8. And that's when Michael did actually stay in London with Cassandra and his son, and that was just pretty well done, focusing on Nikita's insecurity with it all. Coming out as such a strong woman, but she really does have, certain weaknesses. Episode 12, Sanctuary, was another really good one. And that was the episode that really started with Percy's plan of escape, really becoming the focus, and when he actually broke out of his holding chamber in Division. That was a really great episode just to see all that come together. That's why Percy is such a great villain. He was a genius, practically a genius, and just to see that all coming together, the pieces being put together, I just thought it was really cool. So there's that one. And of course, the follow-up to that, episode 13, Clean Sweep. That was, again, just kind of continuing that same idea of what I talked about. And then the episodes with Carla, the woman who actually brought Nikita out of her, when she was addicted to drugs, and just brought her out of that low point in her life. But we find out that Carla's actually the one who, along with Percy, started Division, except her idea of it kind of was changed as the years went on. And she became a target of Division, especially Amanda, who was against her from the very beginning. I thought that was a really good dynamic, but she just had a different idea of how to handle what to be done with it now than Nikita did, and Birkhoff ends up killing Carla, which I was fine with. Birkhoff, that's another good point. When Birkhoff had to kill people this season, you can see he struggles with it. He's not this trained killer like some of our other characters are, so he's doing some of these things for the first time, and so I thought they really portrayed that struggle within himself pretty well too. And like I said, also I want to emphasize the Wrath episode 19, when this killer that Nikita put away breaks out. She goes after Nikita, making a deal. He goes after Nikita, making a deal with Percy, and Nikita ends up being tortured, and eventually we see Michael sort of go in, get himself captured to try and protect Nikita, and we really get to see Maggie Q put on such an amazing performance in this episode. She's always been really good on the show, and she's shown layers to the Nikita character, but this episode really just put them all out there, and really just throws the character way above average as far as these types of shows go, I think. It's to show the darker side of her mind, the more twisted part of it, literally laughing in the face of, likely death, and just really laying it all out there, even on Michael, and, talking about certain things about him. I thought that was really well done, really twisted and dark, for the show, I think. Again, it'd be hard for me to talk about all the details, but let's see. Yeah, all of our inner demons and self-loathing and stuff like that, just really, really shown very well. And of course, like I said, the finale episode 23, Homecoming. Excuse my language, but just a fucking amazing episode, man. It might very well be, in my opinion, the best episode of the series so far, at least to the point I've watched, or at least definitely one of the top, 3 or so, I'd say. Amazing finale. Not necessarily giving us a cliffhanger, but leaving us somewhere where we're kind of uncertain of what exactly is gonna, go on in the next season. Sort of like what Nikita's wondering, really. We see the death of Percy, and I expect him to die at some point, but they easily could have, stretched him out until, the final season, I could have seen them easily doing that. And it really came true, the the intro we've heard over and over, of Nikita saying the last word they'll say will be my name. And it was, before Nikita dropped Percy, he said Nikita, and, that was a completely full circle there. And as Division was breaking down, the Marines were coming in at the same time. Percy, of course, blackmailing the president, which I never expected it to go that far in Season 2. Again, just really liked how high the stakes were in this finale, and, of course, seeing Michael and Nikita actually go into the Division headquarters was just really, really intense. I thought the action was great. Of course, Michael thinking Nikita's dead again, and, Nikita just had a great showing on that episode. And Percy's death itself, I thought they did it pretty well. In a way, I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more layers to the Percy character, but I also can accept that he's just a great straight up, bad guy, really. As he sort of says, to all the members of the Division and the headquarters at the end, basically admitting that he played them all, to further his own end, but he's not sorry about any of it. So I can accept that he's just a bad guy. Not every bad guy has to have layers or possible redemption or something like that, but nonetheless, Percy was a great villain, and seeing that Nikita actually chose to drop him at the end was just a really huge moment, and it was satisfying to see him basically just fall through the glass of the same place he was being held in earlier that season. Basically, probably his skull, boom, and yeah. So yeah, pretty brutal and well deserved. Like I said, an amazing episode, and Ryan Fletcher takes over Division at the end because they have this idea that only Division can clean up Division, sort of like get it back in order maybe to what it can be, but their idea now is to sort of like tie up all the loose ends of the people who are still out there working for it and stuff, who don't know what the fuck to do. But in the long term, I think I would like to see Nikita and Michael sort of run Division, sort of run it in their own way, like they sort of talked about before. Like that's the only way they could accept it still being there. So I wonder if that's still like the long-term idea. But it also takes seeing Nikita and Michael on an island, just enjoying and themselves and relaxing for the ending. But we'll see what they do in Season 4. But yeah, it'd be like I said about a million times by now, it'd be way too hard for me to explain everything that happened in the finale. And of course we see that Amanda is still out there too, so she's probably going to be a focus of Season 3, I think, as far as villains go. I'm really excited to see what they do with it for the last two, though. I did hear Season 3 is the least favorite, but I'm curious to see, because I don't, with as good as the Season 2 was, if Season 3 is even like 2 to 3 quarters as good as this one was, then it's going to be good too, I think. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on Season 2. I also liked Birkhoff's romance with what's her name? It's something with an S. Give me a second. Sonia? Is that it? I'm right. She is sort of took over for Birkhoff when he broke off from Division, and she sort of seen the bad that Percy and Amanda were doing, so she always seemed hesitant or reluctant throughout the season that she was having to do some of the things against him for Division. And a couple times she did help out Birkhoff. She did in the finale too, and when Birkhoff comes to Division at the end, he just kisses her, so that was fun. Good for him. Birkhoff's definitely one of my favorite characters. It's Nikita, Michael. I did really like Percy, and then it's probably Birkhoff and stuff like that, so I'm really happy that Birkhoff is getting something too. But yeah, overall a great season, probably the best, or my favorite season so far of the first two anyway. Just so much good I can say about the show now. Really compelling storylines. Maggie Q's a fantastic actress, great in the role. Everyone does a good job in the cast though. Can't wait to watch Season 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything about this season that you wanted to talk more about, I also like the scene of Nikita sort of, talking to all the members of the division that were still there, saying that she was never after them. She was just going for Percy, or, sort of Amanda while she was with them. But I like that scene too. Anyway, overall great season. And if there's anything I didn't talk about that you guys want me to give my thoughts on, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to talk more about it with you guys. I'm sure there's stuff I forgot, or just things I would like to talk about, just can't fit into the video right now. It would be too long. But yeah, great season. Probably my favorite so far. Looking forward to seeing what they do with the final two. And so I'll catch you guys next time. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Movie Pilot, and look for Inspoiled.com. Peace.